Dear students, we were studying third chapter, the Delhi Sultans of your book history. Today we'll start second part of this chapter from garrison town to empire, the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. So before starting this part, we have to understand what is garrison town. Garrison town to empire. Garrison town is particular a fortified settlement like this. Fortified settlement, this is particular area that was fortified and in which sultans used to live and soldiers used to live and weapons and other commodities were kept. It was safe area. You can say that this was garrison town, so it was safe area. But how they converted garrison town into a big empire means like this was Delhi. It was fortified settlement, means it was garrison town. So they controlled over Lucknowti, they controlled Benares, Awadh, Gwalior, Ranthambore, etc., Ajmer. So these were the garrison towns. But they did not have control over these areas surrounding these garrison towns. Surrounding these garrison towns. So it was difficult to control these. So these were known as hinterland. Do you understand what is hinterland? Hinterland means the particular area little far from this garrison town, right? This is the center of authority and these surrounding areas are known as hinterland. So they had the control. Delhi sultans had the control over garrison towns, but they did not have control over hinterland. Clear? So how did they control over hinterland and they converted into empire? And how did they control over southern parts of the country and to make a big empire? We will study in this part. They did it so into two ways. They adopted two methods. First is internal frontiers, campaign in internal frontiers, and second, campaign in external frontiers. So we'll study how did they do so. This is the map of India, and during the Sultanate age, it was the first dynasty, slave dynasty's map. Just we have to understand that it was Delhi, fortified city and a garrison town, and these areas were other fortified or garrison towns, other garrison towns. So how did they control? It was very difficult. Just you have to understand why it was difficult. The sultans seldom controlled the hinterland of the cities and were therefore dependent. Just they dependent upon trade, just on trade and tribute and plunder for supply. Plunder for supply, right? Just you have to understand that the sultans or the people of sultanate used to have a trade with these kinds of hinterland areas. Tribute means some of the people used to give the gifts as tributes to the sultans. And third is plunder for supplies, means the sultans and the soldiers used to attack over the areas and they used to get some commodities and supplies like this. But it was not permanent. Controlling garrison towns in distant Bengal and Sindh like this, Sindh area and Bengal, it was not easy, right? It was very difficult, extremely difficult. Why? Because the person who is sitting here as governor in this garrison and controlled by sultan, but there was a fear of rebellion. He could start a rebellion, war, and even bad weather could snap fragile communication. At that time there were no mobiles, no internet like this, so fragile communication routes. And Delhi's authority was also challenged by Mongol invasion. Here Mongol invasion from this area, Mongol invasion. So we can say that it was very difficult for sultans and it was the sultan's weakness. The sultanate barely survived these challenges. Its consolidation occurred during the reign of Ghiyasuddin Balban. Consolidation, what is the meaning of consolidation? Means inclusion of hinterlands, right? Inclusion of hinterlands like this, and these parts also inclusion of hinterlands, and converted into a big empire. So this was known as consolidation. So this process was done by three main sultans, Alauddin Khilji and Balban and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. This was particular area of empire during slave dynasty. Slave dynasty, you have to understand and remember, slave dynasty. And this was area, expanded area in comparison of slave dynasty, means controlled Khilji dynasty, in Khilji dynasty. And after that, Tughlaq dynasty. Tughlaq dynasty was completely expanded except some areas, right, of Bihar, southern Bihar and Odisha, and some parts, some eastern parts of central India. Tughlaq dynasty 1320 to 1414. And after that, Lodi dynasty, right, it was in small part. Lodi dynasty means compelled due to the various kinds of attacks, right, 1451 to 1526. And this particular area was ruled by Sayyid dynasty. Sayyid dynasty expanded later by the Lodis, but it was the congested area during the Sayyid dynasty. So the campaign to convert the garrison towns into big empire were done by three main sultans of Delhi Sultanate. First was Balban, Ghiyasuddin Balban. He ruled from 1266 to 1287. 1266 to 1287. And after that, Alauddin Khalji. You can say Alauddin Khalji. Second ruler was Alauddin Khalji. He ruled Delhi from 1296 to 1316 over Delhi. And after that, Muhammad bin Tughlaq ruled over Delhi from 1325 to 1351. This was the reign or tenure of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So first let's discuss the first set of campaigns along the internal frontiers, that how the Delhi Sultans controlled internal frontiers or hinterland. Clear? The first set of campaigns along the internal frontier of the Sultanate aimed at consolidating the hinterlands of the garrison towns. Hinterlands of garrison towns were these areas. Along with the hinterland parts and with their garrison towns. So during these campaigns, forests were cleared. What steps were adopted? Forests were cleared, right? And after that, in Ganga Yamuna region, Ganga Yamuna Doab hinterland, just Ganga and Yamuna. So in this particular area, so forests were cleared, and hunter gatherers and pastoralists expelled from their habitat. Okay, hunter gatherers, the people used to live in the forest, they were expelled from those areas, and these lands were given to peasants, and agriculture was encouraged. Peasants used to live in these parts, so these lands were given to peasants. So this was the way adopted by the Delhi Sultans. New fortresses, garrison towns and towns were established to protect trade routes and to promote regional trade. So this was the way of internal frontiers, to control our internal frontier. And before discussing about external frontier, we have to understand this map. So this is the map during that period of Delhi Sultanate. So this area was of Delhi Sultanate, right? Hinterlands were controlled by Delhi Sultans. These were the external areas. Clear? External areas. Why these were called external areas? Because these areas were controlled by different dynasties like Yadava dynasties, Kaktiya dynasties, right? Eastern Ganges and Hoysala Empire, Pandyas, etc. So how these external areas were controlled in the way that is known as external frontier. The second expansion, this is known as second expansion, occurred along the external frontiers of the Sultanate. Clear? So let's understand with the help of this map. This particular map is showing the expeditions by Alauddin Khilji. So military expeditions into southern India started during the reign of Alauddin Khilji and culminated with Muhammad bin Tughlaq in their campaigns. Sultanate armies captured elephants. During this period, they captured these kinds of areas. During this period, they also captured elephants, horses, and slaves, and carried away precious metals also. So in this way, they controlled external frontiers. So this is particular map showing the attacks or campaign into South India by Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji, that I have told you that he ruled over Delhi from 1296 to 1316. 1296 to 1316 AD, right, over Delhi. So for example, from Delhi he controlled over this way from the western Bengal to Warangal, and this was particular area to Devagiri, and controlling over Yadavas. Clear? And after that to south Tanjore till Tanjore in Pandyas. So in this way they control western part till Gujarat, and Chittor central part, Devagiri, right? So this was the expedition chart or map by Alauddin Khilji. So let's discuss. And this map is showing the complete expedition by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He ruled over Delhi Sultanate 1325 to 1351. 1351. So his expedition, you can see in this map that the most of the areas of southern India and most of the areas of central and some of the areas of eastern part were controlled by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So by the end of Muhammad Tughlaq's reign, 150 years after somewhat humble beginnings, the armies of Delhi Sultanate had marched across a large part of the subcontinent. They had defeated rival armies, seized cities. The Sultanate collected taxes from the peasantry and dispensed justice in its realm. But how complete and effective was its control over such a vast territory? So this is particular question. The answer we'll find further. Now let's have a look over the buildings or monuments built during this period. So see figure 2. Kuwait al-Islam Mosque and minaret built during last decade of 12th century. This was the congregational mosque of the first city built by Delhi Sultans, described in the chronicles as Delhi Ekuna, means old city. Old city. This is the figure of old city, in which you can see that Qutub Minar was started by Qutubuddin Aibak and completed by Iltutmish, right? And Quwat al-Islam mosque was started during slave dynasty and completed in 1316, right, during Khilji. And after that, just we have to understand what is the masjid or mosque. Masjid, a mosque is called a masjid in Arabic. In Arabic language it is called masjid, literally a place where a Muslim protesters, and we can say that prostrates in reverence to Allah. In a congregational mosque, Masjid-e-Jami or Jama Masjid, Muslims and Muslims used to read their prayers like namaz together. Members of the congregation choose the most respected, learned male as their leader, imam for the rituals of prayer, right? So very important role in namaz of imam. He also delivers the sermon, means khutbah, and during the Friday prayers, means Jummah. During prayer, Muslims stand facing Mecca, the very holy place for Muslims. In India, this is to the west. right? This is called Qibla. It is called Qibla. Figure 3, this is the, we can see the Begumpuri Mosque, built in the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, was the main mosque of Jahanpana, the sanctuary of the world, right? His new capital in Delhi. So this was Begumpuri Mosque in 14th century by Tughlaq. Next, this is Maut Ki Masjid. Maut Ki Masjid, built in the reign of Sikandar Lodi and by his minister, and completed in 1505. 1505, you have to remember 1505. After that, figure 5, this is Mosque of Jamali Kamali, built in late 1520s. Late 1520s. It was started in 1528 and completed in 1529, right? So these were the major buildings. The Delhi Sultans built several mosques in cities all over the subcontinent. These demonstrated their claims to be protectors of Islam and Muslims. Islam and Muslims. Mosques also help to create the sense of a community of believers. So dear students, in this part we have studied till now. In the next part we'll study the rest of the chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.